I chased Billy down at a Braves game one time and made him hang out with me the entire night.
Did you?
That was a good time.
It was a good time. We did have a good time that night.
Man, I appreciate you coming on here, talking
I
with us
appreciate
today.
you guys. I really do. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if this podcast will be as good as yours, but we're going to give it our best shot.
Oh, I know better than that.
He's got a lot of experience.
He does have some experience. I love your podcast.
Thank you for that.
It's awesome.
Yeah, y'all talk about some really good stuff on there.
We're going to have a good one coming up later this week. They having that big meeting over there in Arkansas voting on this season's regulations. So
that's one of the topics we want to talk about. What's your?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Spoiler alert.
No, that's good. That's good.
That's it. Number one. We want to know your thoughts on those.
Yeah.
Which one?
So the mud motor. So
that ain't gonna happen.
You don't think so?
No.
I don't think it'll happen either.
It almost can't.
Hey, how you get that thumb up there?
What?
Y'all professional over there, man.
What we got? We got a thumb up.
Yeah, where'd the thumb up come from?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I think that's on your.
I don't know.
I think that's on your screen. That's probably that new update.
Yeah, they've got me all screwed up with that new iPhone update.
Oh,
I can't even use my phone anymore.
Mm-mm. No, they're talking about layering stickers and everything in your text messages.
Yeah.
Shoot, I'm good to find one emoji, much less 4 or 5 of them, label them together.
I every time I call somebody, I used to just put them on speakerphone. Now I hit mute because they switch the buttons around.
No, really?
Yeah.
I'm bad about talking on the speakerphone.
So, it's awful.
I talk to everybody on the speakerphone except for my really close friends because they've all burnt me a time or two in front of people. No more. I've had it with you guys.
So
yeah.
You, I guess you've had Arkansas Game and Fish on or somebody like that you've talked to?
Actually, gonna have them on Friday.
Okay.
They're meeting Thursday to vote on all of this season's regulations. So we decided to put it off until the voting's done, and I think everybody seems pretty interested. You hope people just make sure their voice is heard on that stuff. Yeah. You never know. It's really hard to get the results of that stuff out of folks, and you don't know how many people participate in that. But, I mean, anybody at duck hunts knows it's going on and knows, they're doing the surveys and they have the opportunity. I just hope they do it.
You can't complain if you don't vote or have your opinion given.
That's right. I got this weird deal going on. I got this little private lake behind my house, and the government is trying to talking about putting this water master program in place. So this is a private lake. It's completely on private property, but they want the ability to monitor and determine if and when and where this water can be utilized. It's only a 16-acre lake. But they do this meeting apparently every 5 years in different areas. So I'm in the Natchez River bottom. They got the Sabine River bottom, of course, the Trinity, Sulphur, some of the bigger rivers in our area. And they have these meetings, and then they do all this advertising to get people to come to talk at this meeting to determine what's going to take place. And I saw the records, and they've had like 4 people at each of these meetings.
Really?
4 folks to come out and voice their opinion. I mean, I know it's kind of off topic, but
no, but I mean,
but not really. I mean, that just shows you how many folks, they got a lot of interest in it, but they just not showing up.
Right.
Nobody wants to take time out of their, quote unquote busy day to go over there and deal with something like that. But the first time it doesn't go their way, everybody's going to be in an uproar.
Oh, that's right.
And you're based out of Tyler, Texas, right?
That's right. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm right smack dab in the middle of Louisiana and Dallas.
Yeah.
So it's not a great duck area, but I'm not far from a lot of great duck areas.
That's right. You're a good travel distance.
So yeah. Are they going to vote on some stuff on the 15th? Is that right? Arkansas game.
Thursday, whatever day that is.
Day after tomorrow.
What are some of the just for people that don't know, what are some of the major topics that is some concern to you?
One of my top ones on it, obviously the mud boat deal. I mean, y'all know, you boat guys more than I am. There's a lot louder boats out there than. Oh, I'm not going to sit here and tell you a service drive ain't loud, but I mean, you can't run them through these WMAs after lunch anyway.
Right.
And what's the difference in some souped up 2-stroke 25 running through there with some of the stuff they put on them versus a mud motor? I mean,
back in the day,
I don't know.
I used to have one of those. I had drilled the exhaust out on one of them old Ep.9s, so they could hear me.
I swear that motor was louder than any mud motor I've ever heard.
It was loud.
I mean, you knew when you was in the woods. Like,
yeah, I wasn't hiding from anybody.
Yeah, it was loud.
It was bad.
It was loud.
So
that's a top one for me, probably just because obviously we partners with Gator Tail and we enjoy. I mean, low water. I think. You know, you could probably argue that that's just a bunch of folks that run outboards that mad because they can't get where they need to in low water, and the mud motors can. But
yeah,
whatever the reasoning, I don't like that. Another one that's a concern of mine is keeping out-of-staters off state land while they're working on it.
Oh, wow.
You know, if they're working on several properties over there now, and they want to open up renovations on several more properties, and if they make it where non-residents can't hunt there during duck season because they're putting that state property under, being worked on. That's kind of a tough one for me. It's hard for me to envision when those things flood out that they're going to be doing a lot of work in there anyway.
That's true, and I honestly did not know that was one of them.
Yeah. And really kind of a big one. Not until they nail a property you're interested in spending a lot of time in, obviously.
My whole philosophy about everything is less government is better.
Yes, sir.
You never want to have anybody say, we're from the government, we're here to help.
Yeah.
Well, they put these regulations in place. I mean, I can remember when the most important thing when you went to the boat ramp in Arkansas back in the day was there were two number one priorities. One was pull your plates off your truck.
Yeah.
Didn't want them to know where you was from. Two was when you sitting at that pole, you make sure you ain't holding on side of that boat.
That's right.
Because there's going to be about 60 boats pushing up on both sides of you. Mm-hmm. And then they start putting these regulations in to fix that, and then they had to put more regulations in to fix what's happened as a result of the previous regulations. I mean, every year it's just more and more regulations, and
it's just a snowball thing. Is all it is, really. So
it is. It's nothing like it used. I mean, I haven't been duck hunting near as long as especially you, but I mean. Just in my short amount of time, there's been so much change that it's just it's not the sport that I started. You know what I mean?
It's nuts.
It's not even remotely close. And I think that's, and I know you guys are a big advocate for this, travel, hunt these ducks in different places. And we've kind of took that up the past few years, and we've had a lot of fun with it. But I think it's because we had to. I felt like that, our home state, or what we would call our home state, is probably Arkansas, is not Arkansas anymore. It's just another state that happens to have some ducks. I mean, it's no good. None of it's good anymore. I don't feel like.
And I think that goes back to the whole surface drive thing. The reason why we own a surface drive is because we travel as much as we do, and that's the one boat that you can hook to. And you can run it in big water, skinny water, no water. It don't matter. You can run that thing. And when you put an outboard on your boat and you're trying to run around the country and hunt, you don't really feel very comfortable that you can just go anywhere and just go hunt anything.
I would agree with that completely.
That's the sole purpose why we have that boat, is because we want to be able to go anywhere and not worry about it.
Yeah, it's almost like a safety net. You don't have to worry about it as much.
Isn't there a manufacturer of service drives that is a resident of Arkansas? Isn't there a boat company there that makes service drives too?
Is there?
I think there is one. I was having a conversation with a guy. He was talking about it. I just couldn't see. them putting that. I mean, I got to believe the service drive is a pretty big market in the waterfowl world.
It's got to be. I mean, it's really the only market that they have, other than South Louisiana, crawfish or something, commercial fishing.
Yeah, the commercial fishing guys. But outside of that, there's not. I mean, everybody reverts to jet drives. Jet drives are popular here where we live. Yeah, because mud motors are very popular, even up north.
Yeah, true.
There's some popularity of them up there, and obviously down south, especially for the commercial side of things. But I don't know. I think that's a huge market, probably a bigger market than any of us probably realize.
Yeah.
And I just wouldn't think that they would ever let that go.
I can't even believe the conversation came up, honestly. But for me, I'm not. I see Hipster over there doing all these reels all the time and all these stories on all these boats he's fixing up. And every year, it ain't like a new boat a year. It's like 5 or 6 new boats a year. He always working. He got the most. I got to admit, Mr. Edwards, I'm a little jelly of some of the fishing rigs you post up too. But my problem is I used to fish. And I had a bass boat, but when I had problems, I'm not that guy. I just never been the guy that when I got a boat problem that I'm gonna fix it. I got to carry it to another guy.
Oh no, I'm that guy. I gotta fix it.
Yeah, you can do that. With me, every time I run an outboard, something's gonna happen. That's where the definition of boat come from, right? Bust out another 1,000.
Oh yeah, brother. Yeah, it's.
I'm tearing it up. I am slap tearing it up, and that I ain't gonna lie to you. That is the advantage for me in a mud motor. I can't tear them up.
No, I mean we have a little running joke. It's like if you want to see how tough it is, let me get on it. If you want to see how pretty it is, let him have it.
That's true.
Because it's a show rig when he has it. Now he does use it. I don't want to say he doesn't. But if you want somebody to beat on it like a hammer, I got you.
Oh, they cost too much money nowadays.
He gets so mad at me. He's like, that boat's dirty. I'm like, we're hunting again tomorrow. Leave it alone. No, you got to spray it out. No, we'll clean it when we get home. Dang, just chill.
I like to have nice things. I can't help it. It's part of it.
No, when we were in Arkansas earlier this year, and I think you probably remember when we got all that snow and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So we wanted to use his boat as a runner boat that morning. Just to running where we're going to hunt. We need somebody to run down and get birds and do stuff like that. But we had to shovel out the bottom of his boat. He was mad. He was irate that we had to go out there and take a shovel and put it in the floor of his boat and scrape and get the snow and the ice. He was mad. He don't even have turf.
Add scratches to it, Bill. You can't have scratched that boat out there.
Ain't had scratches.
I mean, that's half the battle of duck hunting is looking like you know what you're doing. And I think a good-looking boat helps.
Yeah.
I mean,
Joseph likes to look good. That you just got to take it for what it's worth.
Smoke and mirrors is all it is.
Yeah.
Well, he does look good.
I appreciate that, Bill. That means a lot, bud.
So
yeah, but that whole deal's crazy, and I don't think I put out a post last week, and in all honesty, that post was. That quote I got from deputy director at AGFC about them making the decision Thursday is because there was a rumor out that they had already moved to ban mud motors, and they're just you know how it is. There's a lot of duck drama in the waterfowl world, and people had just started getting that rumor going, and they I asked them if they minded if I posted him saying something about it, and they actually were thankful and encouraged it because they kind of wanted to stomp on the rumor that is something that had already been done. They want to make sure everybody knows that they're going to hold these public meetings, and Mr. Booth is a great dude over there, the guy running that thing, and they want people's input. And kind of back to our conversation earlier, I just hope people get involved and let them know what they think about this.
Yeah, I was looking on the Mud Motor pages on Facebook or the Tiller page or whatever, somebody had asked the question, did they really just ban mud motors? And this was a few days ago, and it's probably the same thing you're talking about.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, they really did do it. Like I thought, there was a thread a mile long about people talking about it. I'm like, they really did. Of course, I didn't have time to read through all of it, but they're shooting themselves in the foot, whether they want to believe it or not.
Yeah. Well, and like we have a turbo system on our gator tail rig, and last year, right when we were going to go put it on, I don't know, I must have probably talked to 8 to 10 people in Arkansas, just like, hey, I just want to make sure, like, this is supposed to be decibel wise, it's supposed to be equivalent or less than what your stock muffler is. Like, I just want to make sure this is okay. And finally, after the 8th to 9th, 10th one, after all of them said yes, I was like, okay, I feel pretty comfortable. Because, they were talking about all that stuff with the exhaust system, and we've already went through the 4-seater Rangers, versus the 2-seater Rangers. We've already went through all that kind of stuff, so I just didn't want to get myself in any kind of mess going into last year. And the 4-seater Ranger thing, I think that's the dumbest thing they've come out with in a long time.
Yeah, I don't even know anything about that.
So you're not supposed to have a 4-seater side-by-side out there. So, in the low water years, people use side-by-sides and stuff to go and hunt these holes and things like that. Now you're not supposed to have anything but like either a 4-wheeler or just a 2 to 3-seater side-by-side. No more 4-doors. They were cracking down on that last year.
And it's a weight issue.
Yeah, they say it's a weight issue. But what's the difference in me going in there one time with a 4-seater or going in there 2 times with a smaller side-by-side?
If you have to carry people in.
You know as well as I do, you've lived around farmland and stuff like that. More tracks in, more tracks out, the worse the road gets. And that's what they're worried about.
I didn't know you could drive anything in there other than a boat.
Well, it's because you're not normally there that time. I always
depends on where.
Yeah,
in the areas.
You're usually somewhere else. You chase water, I think, too. Well, you chase ducks, but normally your ducks are on good water.
Right.
I can always tell if I'm on the right path when I pass Billy, whatever little town we're in.
We passed him a couple times.
Oh yeah, I give him a call and let him know I'm on his tail. I know where you're at, big dog.
We passed by each other last season.
Yeah,
there's been a couple times we've passed each other and neither one of us knew what was going on, apparently.
Yeah. You're right about that.
Yeah.
That happens more often than not.
I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, Billy, is chasing them like the way that you guys have been chasing them for years, the way that we chase them now is you have to be willing to leave the house and take a loss. Like you have to be willing to take that L on some of this stuff. But in all reality, there's a lot of times you really don't lose. You learn something along that way, whether it be new ground or whatever the case may be. And that's the way that we've been looking at it is, sometimes you come home a little empty-handed, but you come back with some knowledge.
Yeah.
That's such good insight, man. And I think a lot of your younger guys have a hard time. They see a post on Instagram or they see a video, and we got to go there and do that. And they go there and do that, and it ain't nothing like the post or the video. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a little learning curve. But, man, that's really good insight. And you're right. You pick up. That's why we talk about the journey a lot. If we could get people focused on the time with friends, the time you guys spend together, and the travel time, and all the things you learn about a new area. I mean, that's probably one of the number one questions. You go, how do you know where to go? How do you make a decision on where to go, and how do you know where these spots are when you get there? And yeah, it just comes from.
You got to go.
That's right. Like you say, you just get after it. Don't worry about what's going to happen. Just start digging, man. I mean, I was having that conversation just the other day. When we started doing this, you didn't have Google. You didn't have. You didn't even have an iPhone, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, so what we did is, I used to fish a lot. So every lake that we go and fish, you could get a really good fishing map. Mm-hmm. Well, from those maps, I could obviously see shallow areas of the lake, creeks,
Yeah.
and we'd start running boats up every single creek we could find everywhere we went. And you now all you gotta do is pull up your computer, look at an area, and I ain't dogging it. I mean, it's nice. It makes it a lot easier.
It does.
But I think you're right. I think people expect to go and do well. And not that you can't, and not that you won't at some point or another, but they a lot more to, less than 500 games out there than the better ones,
You got to pay your dues.
Yeah.
You got to pay your dues. And I don't care how well you think that you know an area or you want to go learn this area or whatever. If you go there, if you pack up with all your buddies and you go there and you got to strike out, but you spend time scouting and fellowshipping and hanging out and doing all that kind of stuff, and maybe you don't kill with a handful of birds, that has to be a win. If not, you're looking at this completely the wrong way.
Right. No, I agree. So one of the we were just talking about social media and getting out there and hunting and things, and this is kind of a hard question probably to answer for you, Billy, but it's something that aggravates me. I've experienced a lot in my career, and recently Drew's kind of experienced this too. But what do you say to people that get upset that you guys travel and show the success, maybe show not really the area, but maybe, or not show the location, but the area that you're in, and people want to, throw blame on you guys for not for creating, more traffic to those areas.
Ruining duck hunting.
Yeah,
man.
ruining duck hunting. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say without saying it. But I don't know.
You ain't gonna hurt my feelings.
I don't know, but I just I hear it so much. I know you. I'm not just about you guys, but I've heard it. I mean, I've heard it be said before, and I know you guys personally. I've hunted with you personally, and I know that's not the case. And I mean, even Drew was in or somewhere that area this year, and he was stopped and got what was it? You stopped and got lunch or something?
Almost got beat up.
He stopped and got lunch, and this guy pulled up and was just like, what is this? And Drew's like, we're a film crew or whatever, social media. And the guy's like, you're ruining duck hunting, and just lost it on Drew in the parking lot there in, a little town. And it's always on my mind because, I hear guys say things about you or you guys, and it just irks me to no end because I know you guys personally, and I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that.
Before he answers, let me add this real quick. So I was in a spot in the Midwest last year, and I know that they know where this is at.
Yeah,
and,
I know, yeah.
So I pulled up to this boat ramp. I pulled up on this levee, right? And I see one set of headlights down there. And I'm like, okay, there's one boat down there. We're getting closer, and Chase Migration is behind me. They're coming in. And I see the boat, when we get up there close, I see the boat take off. And there's still a headlamp on the levee. And I'm like, all right. So we just take our time. We back in. I'm like, I know how many holes is in there. You got one. Good job. I don't care. So we're just sitting there on the bank, and we're just chit-chatting because until I see headlights coming way down that levee, I'm not worried about anything, All of a sudden, this little headlight beacon just bebops around the edge of the levee, and he's coming all the way down. He comes down there. He's like, hey, man, how are y'all? And I'm like, we're good. How are you? We're just talking back and forth. And he's like, well, y'all have a good hunt. And I was like, your buddy that left you like 15, 20 minutes ago, you want me to take you to him? He's like, do you know where he's at? I was like, yeah, I probably do. He's like, no, don't worry about it. You don't have to take me. He was kind of defensive a little bit. Even though he came down there to us, he was still a little bit defensive. And I was like, man, look, we're just trying to kill a duck. You know what I mean? Like, just get in a boat. I'm going to take you to it. I'll drop you off. I'm not asking to hunt with you. We've got our own hole over here. It's fine. So we motor in. He gets in the boat. We motor him over there. We take him to his buddy, shake his buddy's hand. Here you go. Hey, how you doing? Here's your hunting partner. We're out of here. So we pull out and go to this other hole. A few minutes later, that guy comes over there. The guy that ran off in the boat comes over there and starts talking to us. And, we talked for 30, 45 minutes. At the end of that conversation, he goes, man, would you like to hunt with us? I said, sure. we'd love to hunt with y'all. Y'all want to hunt in this hole? He goes, no, I think we're going to be better in this one over here. I said, all right, you live here. You know, like I ain't arguing with you. We go over there to his hole. We're sitting there that morning, and right before shooting light, he said, I know you've probably seen this hole on social media or YouTube. And he was like, Dr. Duck and Billy, they put it on social media like a drone shot of this with these birds coming in. And I'm like, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, they're freaking giving everything away when they come over here. I said, let me tell you something, buddy. Unless you've stood in this hole, you don't know where it's at. I said, I can show you some drone footage of some places that we've hunted, and I bet you can't tell me where it's at unless you've been there. He goes, man, I never thought about it that way. I said, okay, we're done. We're done here.
And what's funny is that specific area you're talking about, and I'm pretty sure Billy knows where we're talking about, but that's the area alone that I've heard that comments that this was great till Dr. Duck came over here or whatever the case may be. And I'm just like,
crazy.
No, those guys have made probably zero impact on hunting as far as your locations.
This is what people don't understand too.
God, it just gets me.
If you post something, Billy, and somebody gets mad and say something about where you're posting at, you know what everybody else does, like the internet scouters? I'm going to click on that guy's profile, I'm going to see where he's at, and then I'm going to narrow it down to where you're at. And then I'm going to look through all his stuff and see where he's at. So when they comment bad stuff on your post, they're the ones that's giving it away. It isn't anybody else.
That's right. That's accurate. Very accurate.
I had this guy, I posted up this picture of me by a tree one time. And this guy reached out and he says, he let me have it. He said, I know exactly where that tree is. I've killed many a duck in there. And I can't believe you would post something like that on social media. Now everybody going to know where it is. And I was like, oh, no kidding. And I just flat out asked, I said, where do you think that is? And he said, it's Hatchet Hole by Ameda. And y'all was over last year. And I guarantee that's when you was in there, you did that picture deal. And I said, brother, I ain't been to Bimeda in 5, 6, 7 years. First of all. Second of all, I ain't posted a picture of anything at Bimeda in 10 or 12 years.
Right.
Probably. So I hate to bust your little bubble, but you're wrong. And thank you for, looking out on that deal. There are people, it's the same thing with boat ramps.
Yeah.
And I get it, man. You put up a boat ramp, I probably know where you at, but I've probably been there. Because
that's right. Yeah.
Like you said earlier, I put in the work to go find these spots, as well as Dennis, of course. And it's just, if you ain't been there, you ain't got a clue.
No.
And the funniest thing about it is half of them will say it online.
Oh yeah.
You could go through all the trouble, make sure, hey, no matter, how many things we've cut out because there's a sign or a lane or something that would be really obvious in the backdrop, and we don't want that in there because we don't, no need for it. And we cut all that out, and then somebody on there says, hey, I saw y'all at Dave Donaldson last week.
Yeah.
Or that's Dave Donaldson, I saw y'all there. And I'm like, and you mad at me for posting up a video, and here you are telling everybody where it is. And look, to answer your question, and thank you again for looking out, because I'm on your team on that deal, but the population of our country is growing at an incredible rate.
That's right.
The population of outdoorsmen in general is not growing.
No, it's declining.
It is declining. And, and I'd love to get into why it appears public lands are busier. And I'm not going to argue that. But I think I understand and know why. But the bottom line is the number is in decline. And man, if guys don't start realizing that are passionate about the outdoors, what's happening with our government, these regulations, your right to own, to bear and use firearms, and this is a much bigger thing than you keeping your duck hole a secret.
That's right.
You know, but you guys are going through and hiding stuff and boat lanes and signs and stuff like that. You're hiding that from people that know where that's at. You're not hiding it from somebody that's going to discover it. You're not hiding it from little Johnny down the street that's going to be Google Map searching everything that you guys have ever done. You're hiding that from somebody trying to say something sideways to you about where you've been, really.
We were at NWTF, and I was talking to Billy, and I was like, I was saying something about so-and-so. I said, do you guys have any luck over there at so-and-so? And he looked at me, he goes, I've never heard of that. And just turned around and walked off. I was like, okay, my bad. I probably should have said that out loud.
Billy, you're right. There's so much government getting involved with this, with all the stuff that's even in conversation, which is kind of mind-blowing with the mud motors and things like that. But I was in a state on the far, far west coast this year. Joseph, you were with me. You didn't buy the license because you were strictly filming, and I wanted to shoot some. But at the end of the term of me buying those licenses, it asked me what I identified as. Not man or woman, but there was a list, let me tell you. And it's just like, it's wild. Why does it matter? Why does it matter? I don't understand.
It is wild.
No, we're in really crazy times, and the bigger picture is the fact that that as outdoorsmen, I get Dennis and I have had been really blessed with the opportunity to speak at some events over the past few years, and I run my mouth a little more than he does for sure, but I love sharing my story that I lost my dad at a very early age, but not before he introduced me to the outdoors. And like every young man, my dad was my hero, and it was, he God-fearing, loved the outdoors, wanted his children to be raised in the outdoors. I mean, he kept moving further and further out just to make sure that we lived. I mean, that's what we lived off. I mean, I don't care. I mean, he's gone, but it wasn't big buck hunting. It was taking the truck out with a spotlight and filling the bed up with does at night to make sure everybody's freezers were full.
That's right.
I mean, that's how we grew up. But those people, as outdoorsmen, we are in these crazy times. We're one of the largest groups of people that still are God-fearing. You can pretty much guarantee that a handshake is a promise that's going to be kept.
Yep.
As long as you ain't talking about how big the fish was or where your duck hole is, they ain't going to lie to you most times. And if these guys go away, if we go away,
that's it.
Because we don't do our part to share how great this sport is, to share our passion with others, and to grow it. If we don't grow it, it's gonna go away.
That's right.
I mean, that's the bottom line. And if this way of life goes away, so is the biggest group of people that are fighting for gun rights, that are fighting for families to live off their own. And there's so many rules and regulations coming out about who can have chickens, and I'm sorry if you keep hearing that rooster out there, but
it's good.
We're used to it.
I mean, there's a lot of that going on.
It's crazy.
It's nuts.
Such a weird time.
We do, but I mean, he's right. I mean, there's no new people coming into this.
No.
So every time somebody gets too old to go, or they're, not buying a license, or this or that or the other, there's nobody really there to take their place.
My biggest concern is when people do get into the sport of hunting or outdoors, is that they're being taught the right way. Like, that's a huge fear of mine because...
Well, they're not. That's why you have the issues you have now.
Well, they're not, but I think that, it's our job, to try to steer people that way, to kind of learn the correct way. And I think conversations like this help, people understand that there's more to hunting than just getting out there and chasing down a duck or water swat or whatever.
Let me say this. How do you teach somebody the correct way to do things while also being entertaining, while also projecting that to an audience? So,
well, I don't know.
That's
No.
the hardest
I don't
part,
necessarily
right?
mean. I don't necessarily mean through, our outlets. Like the couple of young men that we have with us. I think it's our job to teach those guys the way we were taught, or how it's respected, to hunt.
But also, if you have a platform like what we have, and I mean, theirs is even greater than ours, then you have to do that. But it's hard to try to teach somebody the right way all the time and still be relevant in social media and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we had a video posted back at the very beginning of duck season where I'm just running through the timber like hard, in these boat lanes and stuff. Where we were at, there wasn't no ducks. Trust me, we knew. We were on private ground, and people are just raising hell. Like, oh, you're the guy that runs all the ducks out. You're the guy that does this. You're the guy that does that. And it's like, we're not. I mean, this was after the hunt. There is no birds. There was a wildlife biologist there on that piece of ground that told us there was no birds. So what are we disturbing? Nothing. We're not disturbing anything. And everybody's on board with what we were going to film. Most people got it and they realized what it was, but there was a lot of people that were just really mad that we were running a boat like through the woods with the daylight. It was just like,
people just have a lot of free time, I guess.
Well, I think you first of all, you got to define when you say teaching people the right way, what is that, And for me, honestly, it's a pretty simple deal. And you do it whether you're doing it on video or you're doing it with those folks you're carrying. And thank you to you guys for carrying them younger folks. I know you do that, Joseph. And it just, you lead by example, right?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And something we talk about, if you really do love your neighbor, you treat everybody with respect. And this is kind of how I answer that. I never did answer your question earlier, but how I respond, my mom and dad taught me that if you ain't got nothing nice to say, you keep your mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where that got lost on social media the last few years, but it is absolutely amazing to me. Where I'm from, if you would say anything like these people say on social media to someone's face, you're gonna get hit in the teeth. So you better be ready to hit the dirt. But that's all changed now. Folks can get behind a keyboard and they get really cocky and say pretty much anything. But whether they can stand behind it or not, they never get that opportunity. Right. But the bottom line should be, when we talk about that big group of people, the conservationists, the people that we need to be growing, the good folks that are capable of turning these things around in this crazy country, if you ain't got nothing good to say, you should keep your mouth shut.
Oh, that's right. No, I agree.
And if we lead and we talk about that enough, I mean, we're getting so many situations. Oddly enough, a lot of times when you meet people face to face, it's different.
Oh yeah, super nice.
You probably don't get as many comments face to face as you do on social media. Negative, anyway.
No, we don't, and there have been a few. And obviously we want to handle those the right way. But are they really necessary? And even if they upset me or anger me, I'm a little older. What's that song? Late great Toby Keith. I ain't as good as I once was.
Yeah.
But do you want to take the chance on finding out if I'm as good once as I once was? Here nor there. The way I need to handle that is, look, guys, we're on the same team. We're all in this together. We're all passionate about the same thing, and I want to understand your perspective. But at the same time, until we all figure out that we have to stop talking down to each other. Look, if you want to chase birds a certain way or do things a certain way, that's really your business. I hope that we can have a conversation about it and come to a middle ground somewhere. It's just like anything else in life, right? Yeah. But we've just, I mean, if everybody in the waterfowl world, in the outdoor world, really would just think, you know what, that's not a good thing, maybe I shouldn't say it, things will be a lot different immediately. I mean, tomorrow. I saw a guy. Hey, there was this guy. They posted this. They screenshotted this. It was so funny. They screenshot the worst shot they could of Dennis coming out of some duck hole. He probably had too many snacks this year. He was a little overweight. He's sweating like a stuck hog. This guy posts this. It's maybe even why I don't follow stuff like Tiller Handle. But they said they dogged him out really bad. Something along the lines that this fat sucker couldn't go 50 yards to a duck hole, much less. I mean, it really got under my skin. So I actually reached out to that fella, and I said, I ain't got no beef to start with you. I don't know if you've met this guy. I asked him, and he said he had never met you. And you're saying this about this friend of mine, and I felt like I should get it off my chest. And not only would he walk thousands of miles for a duck, because he ain't right in the head, guys, I'm telling you.
I know.
But if you wanted to go hunt it, he would carry you on his back.
Yeah.
Even if he didn't know you.
He would. He definitely would.
I can't, by the end of duck season, I hate Dennis Lewis. I mean, he gets on every nerve in my body. But he is that kind of guy. And for someone who's never met him, never shook his hand, to post something like that, I just don't understand what they're trying to achieve.
It's just jealousy.
That's what jealousy is the biggest thief in life. Okay. It really is.
That's well said.
I mean, it truly, truly is. I mean, even I just think of things that I get jealous of. Somebody's got a much bigger boat than I do, or whatever the case is. I'm just like, man, you can't live life like that. Be thankful for the little boat that you have, that you can.
Well, I mean, they wouldn't screenshot. They wouldn't take a picture of Dennis if Dennis wasn't Dennis. You know what I mean?
That's the other huge thing.
Do you think that that's the first time a guy's ever seen a dude that looked, whether he was out of shape or not, they grabbed a bad photo. That guy's ran across people like that before in his life. He didn't take a picture of them and blast them on social media. He blasted Dennis because he's jealous of the life that Dennis gets to live.
Yeah, he's jealous of the person, not the situation.
Yeah.
Well, I truly hope we can get to a point that I got nothing but respect for Dennis. I've been alongside him for 30 years. Watching him chase ducks, us chasing ducks together, and seeing what he goes through. And I know a lot of young guys. I know a lot of other guys. I got to admit, there aren't as many our age gentlemen out there doing it. And I talk to a lot of those guys, too. And, they share why they don't. And a lot of it is that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's a shame, and it's just like anything else. If we tear ourselves up from the inside, it doesn't bode well for duck hunting in general. It doesn't bode well for outdoorsmen in general, and it certainly doesn't look like it'll be able to help the future of this country if we all can't figure out how to get on the same squad.
That's true.
No.
So I've spent a few days in the woods with Billy and Dennis, and I can tell you this: I don't want none of it. We had to walk into this spot we hunted. I thought I was going to die.
Did you tell him you had heart problems?
I didn't tell him. I didn't tell nobody nothing. I didn't carry no decoys out neither.
He tells us that all the time. Every time we ask him to do something, I got heart problems. I can't do that.
I tell you, me and Billy, I followed Billy out, and he was, I was proud of myself, really. I couldn't let him know that I was in handicapped. And I come on out of there with Billy, and I was sweating. I was hot. He's like, "You want beer?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll take a beer. I'll take a beer.
Take whatever you got right now."
I'm dying inside. I was dying, and I just tell you, some of these guys that have something to say, I challenge them to hunt with these guys for a week, not much less a season.
Yeah.
I can't do what you guys do, and we talk about this all the time. We are getting older, and do we resort to the country club life of waterfowl, where we have our private land and our nice lodges, or do we follow the footsteps of you guys and stay out there on them? We love the kind of hunting you do, and I know for me and Drew at least, we're going to try to stay in there as long as we can.
We got some buddies that want to bail out.
They want to bail already. We just can't do it.
There's just too many states left on the old bucket list. I got to knock them off.
Yeah, a lot for us too, and I get it. I mean, of course, y'all still spring chickens, but I appreciate the kind words, and I feel the same way. I really enjoyed our time together. Obviously, that's why we continue to stay in touch.
Yeah.
But Dennis, I'm the whatever guy. Whatever hey, I'm good. Whatever you want to do, and that sucker, he will go, and. I know there are a lot of other people out there like that too, but you talked earlier about sharing stuff, and that's the other downside to it. Dennis doesn't really care if he shares anything.
He don't care at all.
He'd call everybody that, hey, y'all want to kill ducks? I'll tell you where they're at. Let's all get out there and see who kills the most ducks.
He don't care.
He loves the competition, and he believes somebody's gonna be getting out somewhere tomorrow. He don't believe, as that there are any secrets on public ground. I mean, you do your work, you put the work in, you're going to find a hole.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to figure it out. And he ain't scared of it. Now, with that said, we do have a history of sliding on down. I mean, you hear stories of, and I know you well know some of these spots early on, low water, get filled up with a whole bunch of people. And, we ain't necessarily into fighting that fight. I believe that while there are a lot of folks that say this is the only spot there's ducks, I know better.
Right.
They ducks in other spots. You just got to dig them up, and that's probably the biggest part of the journey for us that we enjoy outside of the competition is being able to find them somewhere.
Yeah. You guys stay on them hard. I know it's a running joke, but I'm dead serious. Whenever I see you guys, we're in the same area, I always think to myself, all right, I'm on the track.
I'm on the time.
I'm on them. I'm close enough. If those guys are there, I'm close. I ain't found them, but I'm close. Yeah.
So how many miles you putting on a vehicle every duck season?
Man, it varies depending on if we probably go to, up north.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more miles when we go up north, and I'll be honest too. Kind of the 10-day block deal in Arkansas has kind of created this situation where, okay, we're only getting these days over there. Let's utilize those. So we try and get over there and make the most of those 10 days. You're going to spend less days looking if you only got 10 to shoot them.
Right.
That's just kind of something that's become a result of that deal. But I mean, I can't remember a year less than, on a slow year that I don't take my truck a bunch, and maybe I ride with Dennis, it'd be 6 to 8, but it'll be 16 plus on a big year where I'm taking my truck all the time. It just,
and you're riding by yourself a lot of the time, right?
If I take my truck, odds are we're taking boat trucks. That way we can take 2 boats, because if we're in a new area, you guys understand that. It's just
you got to.
You got to double up. I mean, I know guys that are taking 5, 6 boats out scouting when they hit new areas, and I think that's great, and obviously makes them more capable of finding birds faster. Most of the time, it's just me and Dennis. Occasionally we'll have another guy or two jump in there, but we move around so much, we jump in with other folks, or we'll be by ourselves, and then sometimes we'll just be in a new area where we don't know anyone at all. And so times like that, obviously we'll want to have both boats with us. And, that's the other thing, that we got new gator tails last season, and he had these, Kyle had these, little tune-up kits.
Yeah.
And, he started pouring out. He said, well, y'all won't need this. Don't worry about this. We'll worry about that after duck season. I said, hold on a second. When's the first time you want us to do anything in these motors? He said, 25 hours. I said, no, we're going to need that. And he kind of really couldn't believe that we'd put 25 hours on. And we did not use the boats until December last year. and we were over 50 hours on duck season on both boats.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That is crazy. So with the success of the Dr. Duck brand, you know, you have partners like Gator Tail, and I think you guys are with Realtree. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Realtree.
Yes.
Do you sometimes find it difficult to want to get up and, you know, you don't get a day off in season. You have to go out there and grind for those partners. And do you ever find it difficult to just sometimes, man, I really want to roll over and go back to sleep, but you know, I've got a show to film, or you know, I've got to be out there. Do you ever find it, you know, somewhat of a pain to deal with all that, you know, brand work?
I'll be honest with you on this deal. The answer really is no. We was doing it way before we had any relationships with anybody, and even if they all went away tomorrow, we'd still be doing it.
That's right.
That grind is just that's just something that you get it.
Yeah,
you know.
I knew that's what you were going to say. I just wanted to hear you say it.
My question is, what is it like traveling with somebody that's filming you for episodes, and what's the pressure like knowing that you've got to have something for an episode? Is it something where you get like you stack a couple of good hunts up and you're like, okay, worst case scenario, guys, we'll let them, you know, air this one, or is it like
real
dang,
time?
like what are we gonna do? You know, like
I think Dennis, the pressure's probably a little more because he is so competitive. He wants every episode to be all the ducks you could kill every time.
mm-hmm.
The super cool thing is a lot of folks that tune in and watch our stuff, it seems like they ask more questions, and really engage better when all the other stuff is in there. You know, you could tune in to any outdoor channel, see somebody shoot something.
Right.
It's all the other stuff that goes in there that
right.
really is a draw for us. And I'll be honest with you, no. And if you were to sit down and watch our episodes, there's probably more episodes in there where we don't shoot all the ducks
mm-hmm.
than there are that we just bang on them. There's been, you know, episodes 2 or 3 in a row where we really struggle, and that's the commitment that we made to each other and that our partners are aware of. We're more interested in sharing the entire, like we talked about earlier, the whole journey, the entire experience, versus just somebody showing up. And I'll tell you this, we could absolutely only post complete bangers if we wanted. And I know people in the industry that do. I know guys that they can hunt the same old 3 or 4 times, make it look like one hunt, a great hunt, and that's what they're interested. Uh-oh.
No, sorry, that was...
I'm on the clock. I exceeded my time.
that's me. Sorry.
No, he's good.
No, you're good. But we don't. We elect to. Hey, we're gonna try and keep it as real as we can, and we want to share the struggles. And I know some of those episodes, you know, obviously some perform better than others, and that's just how it is. And the great business side of that is, you know, we've been partners with several different people, and people like, you know, why were you here and go there? And it just took us a while to find good partners.
Right.
You know, we've got good folks that are completely on board with what we do. And when I say what we do, I don't mean being out there killing birds. Obviously, that's good for their products to be in the outdoor industry. But what I mean is having folks that want to represent them, that want to do things the right way. And we want to share, like I said, that whole story, and we're looking long term, and all the partners, everybody that we work with right now, man, they're such great people behind their products, and I'm not just saying that because that's where we are, but that's where we've gotten to, working through other folks, unfortunately, to figure out this is where we need to be, and they love it, and we don't have to. We set a number for ourselves. We hope we can do this many, and whether we shoot them or not, we're going to target this number. We usually exceed that number.
Yeah.
But we're going to keep it real as we can, man, and just share the experience.
That was my next question on why you guys had changed some of the, because when I met you, you were with a totally different set of partners that were pretty relevant at the time. And I've always been curious why, but now it makes complete sense that, partner with somebody that is easier to work with, or maybe more loyal, or easier, to deal with in general, makes a lot of sense. I mean, it doesn't always have to be,
What do you look for? What are you guys looking for in a partner when you're looking at? Because I'm sure you have, a lot of options and things like that. When you guys chose the people that you're working with now, what was very important to you guys? I mean, take out any of the financial stuff. What was important to you? Was it having the freedom to do the things that you want to do, or them to have the same views? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I appreciate you asking that. I think number one for Dennis and I both really is the people behind the brand. It really, really is. And look, I'm not going to name a brand in this situation, but for instance, one of the relationships we had over the course of this project for us was we had kind of established up front that, look, this is what we do. You're sending a camera guy. We're going to continue to do what we do. We're going to do it the way we do it. And there was no money involved. A lot of these, and this is something that probably a lot of folks that are there's a lot of people that want to get into filming and want to get into the outdoors and want to build those partnerships. And I would just say to them that value your product, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of folks will jump into these pro staff situations or filming situations, and they just gonna swap it out for product. Look, if that's all you want, good for you. Get after it. And early on, that's all it was for us. We were doing it anyway. This is what we love to do,
right.
Man. We were killing ducks, like I said, way before iPhones, much less the YouTube videos, So we're doing the same thing we doing, and we're going to keep doing it. And it got to a point where they started saying, hey, we want you here. We want you doing this. We want you there. And back to your question about it being a job, that's kind of when it
became a job.
It started looking like, well, we can't go and do this, even though we wanted to, because we got to be here and we got to be there. And it just, I don't know, you get down that road, it's tough to navigate sometimes. And so the answer to your question is we look for those people who are on the same page as us. We want them to, the brands we work with, the people behind those brands, you can know that they're really, really good people.
Right.
They get what we're trying to do. They stand behind us when we talk about cultivating this same team atmosphere in the outdoors, and they'll do anything they can to support it. And whether the money's here or there, if there is money involved or whatever, I mean, obviously it's also becomes a business at some point.
Oh yeah, of course.
When you're representing these brands and you're providing content for them for marketing and promotional purposes. But at the end of the day, we're doing what we wanted to do. We're doing what we've been doing, and we're going to keep doing that. And the number one thing is making sure that the partners we work with, obviously, there's a lot of great products in the outdoors.
Oh, yeah.
But when you get past that product, what are the people like, And that's a really big deal for Dennis and I.
Well, I want to give a shout out to your cameraman for the hard work that he does. He is top tier, baby.
Thank you for that.
I've met him at NWTF briefly, and
he's such a good dude.
He's a good dude, man. He has put out some bangers this year. Some of his drone shots, I'm just like, God.
He had never duck hunted before he went out with us.
That's so crazy.
And
but that's good because it gives a fresh eye. I really love that.
It's a great point. But he was, Grant was, and I'm hoping we keep him around. This is, in our second year of doing this, really, with Realtree, he was with a filming company and came on board and contracted through Realtree with us for a year. And then we hopped around to a couple more through that same company, and then the opportunity, Grant went out on his own, and the opportunity came up for us to snag him, and we did. And you know what duck hunting public is like, man. You're getting up at midnight every day. This guy, hey, he never misses a day, and he's just as excited day 60 as he is day 1. And he's in the boat from the time you get going through the hunt, and then you go back to wherever you are, whether it's a truck, a hotel, a cabin, whatever, and he just sits down and starts editing.
Oh, yeah.
Immediate.
He has.
Immediate.
Yeah,
Immediate.
He's got a lot of work to do.
He's a good dude. He's done a lot. He has. I'm telling you, man. That there's one that sticks out in my mind. It's like he's flying over the timber, and there's some like low ceiling cloud coverage. Dude, it is by far one of the best shots in waterfowl that I've seen in a long time. I told him, I was like, "You're the guy that." I asked him, I was like, "You're the guy that filmed that shot or whatever." He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Dude, you know, you're good. You're good."
I appreciate that. He's such a great guy. We're very blessed to have him, and we got him this year for sure. But you know, he asked this little old girl to marry him.
Oh, Lord help us.
So I know what that'll do to a man's duck season. Maybe since he's earning money doing it, she'll give him a little bigger kitchen pass. But I'm eager to see how that plays out, brother.
Yeah. It might be the end of that one.
You got to get them kitchen passes.
Yeah, big time. I think Delta kind of messed up by taking it down to Baton Rouge. I really enjoyed it being in Little Rock.
I did too, and it seemed like obviously you got to consider travel and accommodations on a big event like that. And Arkansas is such a central location. Now you sliding all the way south. I don't know how much of that Tennessee, Georgia traffic you're going to get that far down.
Well, that's going to be, it's tough for us. I mean, we're having a couple of the young men drive the truck and trailer down there, and Drew and the rest of us are going to hop on a plane because, I mean, that's a long haul for us to get to Baton Rouge.
And we're not going down there like specifically to try to make a bunch of money, right? I mean,
it's
by
just
the time
brand
you buy
awareness,
airfare,
really.
and then you send a truck and a trailer down there, you got your guys, and we rented a pretty large house and stuff like that for everybody to stay in. You're going down there to just meet people. That's basically what we're doing. We're going down there to talk to guys that that follow us and stuff, and then talk to other people in the industry, our friends and things like that. You're just going down there for that.
Oh, it's always just to see everybody. Like I get to see Billy every year down there. Usually, like Wade and all those guys. I really enjoy just the camaraderie of those shows. I could care less about the show. Yeah. I mean, we could all just rent a beach house and hang out for all I care. But
I wish we would. It'd be a little cheaper.
It probably would.
Well, for content guys in general, it's important to be around your peers and
true,
and other people in the industry. And you're right, an event like that, and that is a great event. A lot of cool folks at that deal. Kind of like, man, it's like that and NWTF, even though it's not duck related, that's a banger.
Oh, it's huge, man.
It is a banger. But I'm telling you what, if them nice folks at the front lobby don't get my room closer next year.
Where do y'all stay? Do y'all stay at the RP Land?
Man, I'm poor redneck, brother.
Oh, brother, I know. I had to stay across the street. I had to get an Uber every day.
I mean it.
So him and my brother stayed across the street. And so we had a room there. I don't know if somebody had it out for me, but we were in the furthest point away from the venue. I swear.
You think they put everybody from the event close to the event?
So I don't know how accurate this is, right? Like it may not be because, so shout out to Onyx because I turned my Onyx tracker on one day. I walked out of my hotel room, and the way that I traveled to get to the booth, by the time I got to the booth, it was exactly 1 mile.
And you never left the hotel?
No.
I could have walked from my hotel there in less than a mile.
So 2 days in a row, I promise you, 2 days in a row. You know the card scanners?
Yes, sir.
I forgot it. 2 days in a row.
Oh, no.
So 1 mile to the booth to get the boys set up in the morning. Forgot it. 1 mile back, 1 mile there, 1 mile back to get back to my room. 4 miles.
But you think you'd like you less than the first day, Drew?
Oh, I was so mad at myself. I mean, I was so mad.
I tried not to come over till about lunch.
I might have to get me one like a handicap thing, a little hover round.
Oh, yeah.
They'd do that to me again.
Well, that on top of, I don't mind, walking around is one thing, but standing, a lot of people, unless they've done it, don't understand the toll that just standing at one of these events to take on you, especially an old man like me. And if you got to do all that walking back and forth in your room, yeah, you might talk to them next year, man. Maybe they could put you a cot up in the booth.
They mess around next year. I'm going to be sleeping in that thing. I ain't walking like that again.
I keep one of them hammocks in my backpack, You never know when I got to sleep in a duck hole. I can just strap that hammock up in your booth, and you never have to leave the booth.
Well, I appreciate that.
And I know y'all enjoy it, but I know you get tired just having to shake hands and kiss so many babies out there the entire weekend.
Man, yeah, I love it, brother.
I know you. I would too. I think it'd be great.
We've had some events where people wouldn't know who we are and could care less we're even there, and then we've had some where a lot of folks recognize us, but for some reason don't. I don't know that I've had people message me and say, hey, I saw you at so and so day. So why didn't you say something, brother? They said I didn't want to bother you. You ain't never bothered me. And then you had them shows, and Delta was one of those for us last year where a lot of good folks came by, man, and just getting to talk ducks and them sharing their experiences and making new friends, and it's just great. It really is good. It's a great experience that we're very thankful for.
It's fun. I usually have to wait in line to say, hey.
I don't know about all that. That's the cool thing about what you guys do and what we do on public land. And I would never say that we're professional. We're the same dudes.
Oh yeah.
We was 30 years ago that we just enjoy chasing ducks, and that's the thing. We just like you, and we just like every one of these guys you talking about who would do something like that. But who did you watch on television in the outdoor world that you admired growing up?
Flip Pallet.
Did you ever run into that guy?
I have yet to. I want to so bad.
Well, that's the thing. You might run into Dennis. You could run into Dennis anywhere.
That's right. That is true.
Gas station, you guys. You're out running the roads. You're on public land, and that's the cool thing that we thought. How cool would it be to just have an everyday guy? We said this 20 years ago. I'd come home, my kids, when they was young, my youngest would rather watch the Outdoor Channel than he would cartoons when he was a kid. Mm-hmm. And I obviously you watch TV with them. And all these guys on TV, I'd never see them.
Oh, no.
And we always would say, how cool would it be to have some guys on TV that hunt like we really hunt?
Yeah.
That you could run into anywhere, that hunted the same way, not hunting some saved up pond for this episode or whatever. And that's what you guys are doing. And that's what a lot of guys that are creating content in this industry are doing. And I love it. I think it's great. These guys are getting after it, and you can run into any of them any given time. And
that's a really good point. I've never even thought about that.
Right.
That is true. That is cool.
You got to be out there. You got to be doing it.
Yeah.
To run across some of these guys.
That's right.
I mean, it's cool. That is cool.
So we had, we may cut this out or whatever, but last year at Worlds we had this family come up to us, and they didn't have their kids with them or anything like that. And we met them and did some stuff with those guys. Well, when the big freeze came through, we went to one of my buddies' places that he has rented out there, like a lodge and hunt public land and stuff like that, and have a bunch of people gather and come over. Well, when we rolled that rig in there in this little campsite area or whatever, this little kid comes busting through the door, and he's like, I can't believe it's y'all. Y'all really here? And I'm like, yeah, man, we're here. He's like, you gonna hunt? I heard you're gonna hunt with me in the morning. I said, well, if I don't hunt with anybody else in the morning, it'd be with you. And he's like, you got that turbo boat in the trailer? I said, yes, sir, I do. And he's like, you care if I look at it? I said, buddy, let's go on out here. We went out there, we cut all the lights on, we dropped all the doors, let him climb all around it, check it out, sit in it, do whatever he wanted to it. And I had one of these younger guys that travel around with us. His name's Deacon. He's 17 years old. And we got done and finished up, and that little boy went on his way. And Deacon, he's like, I can't believe you did that for that little boy. He's like, you usually not as open with everybody else. I said, that little boy looks up to us for whatever reason it is, and as long as you're ever involved in this, you better treat everybody exactly like that. Because
didn't you trade hats with that kid?
I gave him an unreleased hat that wasn't coming out for like 6 more months, and I gave him anything he wanted.
I came in late, and I came into the lodge. And I was like, whose hat is this? Drew's like, oh man, this kid traded hats. He wanted this hat. And I was like, that's pretty badass.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
It's humbling.
Good for you, man. That kid, he'll remember that forever.
Oh, absolutely. So that'll be a fan for life. I mean,
Well, I mean, it wasn't even about that, but I don't think that I'm that cool, or any of us are really that cool. No. But to that kid, I was pretty cool. So, and that don't happen much around my house with my kids. They don't think I'm very cool at all. So when a 9-year-old kid runs in there, he's like, you're the Water Cowboys? I'm like, I'm part of them. He's like, can I see that turbo boat? Buddy, if it had water out here in the parking lot, you'd drive it around. I don't care.
No, that's awesome.
So,
good stuff. And you know what? Good on you for doing that. And we ain't here for very long, man. So the more, kind of like we were talking earlier, the more positive impact you can have on others, the better. And that's good stuff.
No, Billy, and I tell you, man, as somebody that's followed you guys for a few years and know you personally, I appreciate you guys being a good steward of waterfowl or outdoor hunting in general. It means a lot I think to a lot of us that look up to you guys, whether you believe it or not. There's quite a bit of us out there that follow your journey, and we're excited to see where you guys go in the future.
I can't thank you enough for that. And I'm looking forward to. We're gonna have to not wait on a booth day. We're gonna have to get down there to Baton Rouge and find us some good Cajun food.
Oh, let's go, baby!
Oh yeah, let's make that happen.
You ain't scared of it, are you?
He might be a little bit.
No, not the hotness. I just shellfish. I mean, shellfish.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You might seize up on us out there.
Yeah, that's something that's happened to me over the past couple of years. It was never there before, but now me and shellfish, we don't.
Oh no, kid.
It's called getting old.
Man, I got a couple buddies. For me, it's like shellfish and steak.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, I could live off of it.
Me too.
I've had a couple of my friends that got bit by that tick.
Oh, I would die.
Lone Star tick, and they cannot eat steak anymore.
If I couldn't eat steak or shellfish,
I would die.
Oh, it's over for me.
That's a fear of that little tick, whatever he's talking about. You can't eat red meat.
Oh man,
have you ever heard of it?
No, but I mean, you go down there in some of those fields down there, you're gonna pull them off of you. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. Crazy stuff.
We will see you in Baton Rouge in a month or so, and we appreciate you coming on, man, taking your afternoon.
Guys, it's an honor. You ever need to fill a gap, let me know. I love just talking ducks, and always enjoy the time with you, and looking forward to shaking hands again and finding some of that good Cajun food here for too long.
That'll work, Billy. We'll see you soon, buddy.
Safe travels, brother. Thank you again.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.